Introducing the Fantasy Sport Doctors with your hosts, Dr. Mitch Brecky, Dr. Nick Curry, and Dr. Nick Healy. Welcome to the clinic.
Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Week 4.
Nick, you must be excited.
I'm very excited.
You jumped the gun there a little bit.
You came in a little early.
Super hot, super early.
I like it, though. I like it.
I was at the Ryder Cup all day long, loving life.
Oh, did you run into Paulina?
Twice.
Paulina Gretzky.
No, I wish.
Johnson, whatever her name is.
Johnson.
The Great One's daughter.
So many illegal things.
Did you see Tiger?
I did see Tiger.
How many girls was he with?
2 middle-aged women. I don't know.
Two middle-aged women.
Maybe he has lowered his standards a little bit.
Where's Lindsey Vonn?
She actually played in the Pro-Am yesterday. Now that we speak about that. Yeah.
Fancy that.
Right. Week 4, people. We're ready. Fantasy Sport Doctors coming to you live from Minnesota. Periscope, what's up?
Hey, Periscope.
Home of the Ryder Cup this weekend.
Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry you can't hear our introduction, Periscope.
But it's pretty good.
If you wanna listen to the intro, you're gonna have to go to the iTunes or Stitcher or our YouTube or website and check out our full podcast.
www.fantasysportdoctors, so it's drs.com.
No S
Check
after
us.
the T.
No S after the sport.
Yeah, that's right. Dr. Nick, you're so excited to get on this show. Tell them why you're so excited this week.
Maybe because we hit the money last week.
We did. We won some money.
A lot of money winning last week.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. $90 going the doctor's way. Loving it.
$90 in Healy's corner. I won 25 in FanDuel. Followed it up with a cool 25 in DraftKings. How'd you do, Mitch?
I won about $18 off of $3 bets across the board.
Nice.
So
Boom.
I mean, I came up over the entire week, and some of my lineups hit, and some of them were just outside the money.
So what you're saying is the Fantasy Sport Doctors are up about $150
Oh,
this
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And I advanced to my 3rd week in a 5-week challenge. So
I like
that's going to be
that.
big money if we keep it going. Let's go.
Let's keep
I like
going.
it. All right. What are we drinking this week, Dr. Nick Healy?
Well, I'm very glad you asked, Dr. Nick Curry. I am drinking a Fulton Sweet Child of Vine.
Samesies.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Threesies. This is out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a nice little Indian pale ale. Got some hop to it. Nice and smooth, though. What do you guys think?
Sweet aftertaste, hence
Oh.
Sweet Child of Vine. It's
Very
actually
sweet.
very good stuff. One of my favorites.
Yeah, if they have Fulton at your local brewery or your local liquor store, you're going to definitely want to go grab one. It's good for you.
Yeah.
So, moving along, last week, like we said, we definitely won some money. We're going to give you some people that we were talking about during our podcast here. We think we were pretty high on Drew Brees, pretty high on the Packers. Dr. Healy, what do we got? How did we do for actual picks and flatliners and stardom situm stuff?
Yeah, we hit on a couple of huge picks. One was T.Y. Hilton. He came along in the end of the game there. He ended up with 8 receptions for 174 yards and a touchdown.
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part.
Thank
That
you.
was a great call.
Great.
It wasn't
call.
all me.
That was a great call, Nick.
It wasn't all me. It was a team effort there. One guy who definitely busted and was my fantasy flatline of the week was Randall Cobb. He had 1
The guy is
reception
drunk.
for 33 yards. And I had a bet against this gentleman right here, Dr. Nick Curry. How did that bet go out for you?
I mean, I lost that one, but how did the one with Theo Riddick and Deion somebody, Washington?
Dwayne Lewis. Hey, it's okay. Another week to come. There'll be
Another
more
week
bets.
to come, yes.
All right. Another couple guys that we hit on hard, like we talked about, Jordy Nelson. In DraftKings, he came out with 31 points. Drew Brees was 29.94 points. Elliott, 21 points. Melvin Gordon, 17.8 points. But one guy that killed all of our lineups, and we would have been in the grands we're talking about
We're
if we
talking
hit,
lots of money if we hit
was
this guy.
Philip Dorsett. He was a lineup killer.
It's
I don't
one
get it.
It's one miss on the entire week. All the factors were there for him to succeed. He just didn't get the ball, didn't make the plays like we expected. But the rest of our lineup actually hit.
He should have gone off.
Even if we would have got 15 points from him, we were talking about probably hundreds of dollars on a multiple of our lineups if it would have hit.
Yeah.
Literally all of our lineups would have been in multiple hundreds of dollars winning. So
Well, you can't win them all. That's why there's another week to win more money.
that's right.
Week 4,
Hey,
here we come.
All right.
Then we only went through 3 weeks. We got 16. 16 weeks?
Well,
And maybe more.
And then
Few
we got
bonus ones.
Well, there's
Yeah.
actually 17 weeks, Dr. Curry.
We're
17 weeks, yeah.
We're coming to
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
We talking playoffs?
All right, let's move on to the objective portion. Dr. Curry, take it away.
So every week we go through a projected point total. It's how we go ahead and pick all of our games that we pick our players from. So every week we will pick the top projected scoring teams by Vegas. This is done by taking the over and under and the spread of all 16 games and identifying the top 6 scoring teams favored by Vegas odds makers. Just to give you guys a little insight into how we do this, we really like Vegas Insiders, the website. They have a few different lines, and they actually show all the lines from all of the different sports books in Vegas. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we're talking like, MGM, all the big ones. Win, big ones, right? And they put them all together, and we like the Vegas Insiders line, and we actually look at the very first line that comes out on the week. So we're usually taking Vegas odds from either Monday or Tuesdays.
Tuesday normally. Well, Tuesday morning, the open line.
Yeah, we like the open line because that's what they're expected to project it. Because once people make bets, then that's going to fluctuate quite a bit.
Yep.
And Vegas is good, right? I mean, when Mitch and I were out there, we were constantly amazed by how close the games were. And you look at last week, even they had the Packers over and under at like 48 points. I think there was 50 some points scored, and they put the Packers at 7-point favorites. Well, guess what? Packers won by 7 points.
7 points.
So, again, Vegas knows what they're doing. This is why we're projecting our players on Vegas odds. And again, we trust those guys over our research. So let them do the work. We just reap the benefits.
All right, let's break down these games here. So we got Dr. Mitch here is going to break down our defensive diagnosis. He's going to tell us why certain teams are going to score so many points. The first game that we have, the Saints at the Chargers. The Chargers are expected to score 29 points, and they're favored by 4.5, and the over-under is 53.5. Tell me how they're going to win this game.
All right, so we got the Chargers favored, 29 points, going up against the Rams defense. They actually had a pretty good showing last week compared to the first couple weeks.
Saints defense, sir.
The Rams, Chargers.
Versus the Saints.
Saints, I apologize. I had the wrong thing down here.
That's okay.
Saints defense is dismal, like they've been proving every single week. Last week versus Atlanta, Drew Brees had to score every single time he was on the field to even give his team a chance. I like the Chargers, everything across the board when it comes to this. They're down, multiple injuries still in the secondary, playing a lot of backups, practice players on the Saints side of the ball. I like Tyrell Williams in this game. I know we do like Melvin Gordon as a group here.
Yep.
We talked about that a bunch. And I don't think you can go wrong with any Chargers player on the offensive side of ball this week. I'd stick to Melvin Gordon, Tyrell Williams. I know a big boomer bust when it comes to Travis Benjamin. But I think more of a safer play is going to be Melvin Gordon or Tyrell Williams this week with the Chargers offense.
Do you guys want to know what I think of the Saints defense? I think the Saints defense.
All we hear is about their defense. They can't stop a nosebleed.
They can't stop a nosebleed.
They can't, and it's kind of embarrassing. I took a look at the injury report, and there's 5 D-backs that are on either questionable on IR or just completely out. So, yeah, I'm loving that game. I'm liking the Chargers a lot in that game.
There's a reason why the Saints are always in the highest over-under spread game.
Because their defense sucks.
It's because their defense is terrible, and like we've been talking about, their cornerbacks are in trouble. So if you're looking for wide receivers and pretty cheap wide receivers in both FanDuel and DraftKings this week, the Williams and Benjamin are great picks. So
in FanDuel, there's Travis Benjamin 6,600 and Tyrell is 64. So they're pretty close.
All right, guys, I just want to reiterate this because we've been saying it for multiple weeks. This is the 4th week in a row we're going to say it. The highest projected point total game of the week, 90% of the time, has the highest scoring quarterback in both FanDuel and DraftKings. What that means is if you're interested, pick Phillip Rivers because more than likely he's going to score more points than any other quarterback this week. All right, Dr. Healy, what do we got for the next game?
Next, we have the great Cleveland Browns organization against the Redskins. The Redskins are favored by 8 points in this one. The over-under is 45.5. The Redskins are projected to score 26.75 points. Tell me, are the Browns going to have a chance in this game?
Well, they got Terrell Pryor who's playing 4 positions on the team, so I think it makes things interesting on the Browns side.
Pop Warner?
Right, on the Browns side of the ball. But the Browns defense, 24th in the league versus the pass. I think this is a coming out party a little bit for Cousins. I think he's going to be able to pass the ball a little bit more effectively this week. You like that? You like that, yeah.
He could be saying it again. Who knows?
You never knows.
Crowder. I like Crowder for the value he is this week. He can really put out some points. Jordan Reed's always someone's going to be a staple in your tight end position, but I like Crowder this week for 4,200 on DraftKings. I'm not sure what he's on FanDuel.
On FanDuel, he is going to be 6,000.
6,000.
If you guys had a chance to read my value picks, he was one of my value picks because he was under $5,000, and he killed it. He had 76 yards in a TD.
They run a 3-4 base. There's going to be some linebackers out of the Crowder of slot position. It's going to be matched up with some better lineups for him to make some more points versus that defense.
And Jamison Crowder, as of now, is leading the team in targets, receptions, and touchdowns. Not too bad.
When we talk about 3-4, we talk about some linebackers being matched up in the slot. How about Jordan Reed? Jordan Reed comes out of the slot quite a bit.
He does.
And you know what? I think we listened to a couple of other people who were talking about Kirk Cousins just looking towards Jordan Reed constantly and maybe looking towards him too much. I will take a player that Kirk Cousins trusts, and one of the most trusted players on the team is Jordan Reed. So definitely think about paying up for a higher tight end this week, especially against the Browns.
Yeah. Okay. So what our third game on the slate here, Dr. Healy?
We have the Carolina Panthers that are at the Atlanta Falcons. The over-under this game is going to be 50 points. Carolina is favored by 3 and projected to score 26.5 points and take home the victory.
Okay. I could see this game going a lot like last week's Falcons game. A very high scoring, even above our over. If you were going to bet on this, I would bet the over.
This might be my favorite game to watch.
We have the Falcons,
excited.
Another very piss poor pass defense, 29th in the league. Giving up 313 yards per game. Cam has been playing subpar. I think this could be a huge bounce back game for him. I like Calvin Benjamin and the Cam Newton pairing like a couple weeks ago.
Back. They just couldn't do anything.
It could be very good. I think.
Okay.
Falcons play a cover 2 defense. That's going to put your cornerbacks are going to be a little bit more crouched. Those outside guys like a Calvin Benjamin are going to be whole shots to the outside. Opens up the middle of the field though too, because you got 2 high safeties. That means your 2 high safeties have to cover half and half of the field. So if you can split the defense up the middle like Greg Olsen, or if you can hold one of those safeties to the inside, you got an outside guy like Calvin Benjamin to go deep on you. Okay, so I like Calvin Benjamin, Greg Olsen in this game for sure.
The Falcons shut down Brandon Cooks last week. That was maybe another pick that we were all over. We were thinking Brandon Cooks was going to blow up with Willie Snead being out, and the Falcons just said, "Nope, you got to beat us with other people like Michael Thomas."
Though.
Yeah. So you look at as a Falcons defense, you got to pick and choose who you want to do that to. Are you gonna pinch Greg Olsen in the middle? I don't normally see defenses taking a tight end completely out of the game, because that's unless you're Gronkowski. That's the only time I've really seen a defense say, hey, we're not going to let the tight end beat us.
Yep.
So your hot take is Greg Olsen this week.
I think Greg Olsen would be more of a better pick, but I can't say that Calvin Benjamin's going to do nothing.
And I think
he's a much bigger target than Brandon Cooks is.
Now, Dr. Healy...
Oh, you mean Calvin Benjamin, who's also a huge
They could double team him and just say force the ball somewhere else. We're not going to let you. They're not going to let you pass there.
Another thing that Dr. Healy has been doing for us, he's been giving us some value picks throughout the week. Look for that to come around on Friday or Saturdays up on our websites. It's going to be called, Week 4 Value Picks, and he's going to give us 3 or 4 people that are going to be very, very low owned, and it's going to be a very good value pick because their salary is going to be pretty low with their potential to score a ton of points. I think a value pick this week could be Ted Ginn.
He's fast. If he gets loose,
it's the 3 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown kind of day. That's what Tevin does.
That's a Boomer Bust player right there.
Yeah, fight or flight.
You know, I guess you guys are just gonna have to wait and see what's going on.
We all think that Stewart's going to be out of this game, right?
Oh, he's out.
Yeah, he's
for
out.
sure. He's out.
So they're starting Cameron Artis-Payne. Typically, the Panthers are running team. I think they're going to have to air it out a little bit more now with the running back situation.
Yeah, and last week they kind of split carries between Arch-Payne and Fozzie Whitaker is pretty dang close. But let's move on to the next game here. We got the Steelers that are playing at home against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs defense is pretty darn good, it seemed like last week. The Steelers are projected to score 26.5 points. They're favored by 5.5, and the over-under is 47.5. Take it home, Dr. Brecky.
Okay, so there's a couple things and takes on this game. Based off of how the Chiefs played last week, a little skewed. You're playing against Fitzpatrick, who intercepted 6 interceptions.
6 interceptions.
Yeah. You have to take that with a grain of salt. Okay?
It's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Chiefs' defense is good.
His problem is he shaved his beard.
It's my quarterback.
It's the quarterback.
And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
It's not
They
fair.
lost as a team. Yeah.
So, I mean, the Chiefs, 11th in the league in giving up passing yards, 24th versus the run. They're about middle of pack. They had a great showing last week. I still think the Steelers are going to put some points up against them. You have Le'Veon Bell coming back this week. Let's not everyone jump on it too hot right away. He's a great player. First week back, he's got to get his conditioning back. They're not going to have him out there every single snap.
No.
And they're talking about doing split or double packaging with
D'Angelo.
That's a
Williams
dangerous
and
backfield.
Le'Veon on the field at the same time. So I think his carries are going to be reduced from what he will be as the season goes on. He's going to score points. I'm not quite sure if he's going to outperform what you get to pay for him this week. He's still going to be a good player in your regular lineups. But I think that you look at Antonio's going to be a good player this week, even though the defense for the Chiefs had a great week last week. We're going to put points up on him. They're not going to have the same showing this week versus Big Ben. He's too big of a veteran quarterback. He's not going to make those kind of mistakes like Fitzpatrick did.
If Le'Veon Bell and D'Angelo Williams are both in the backfield, that is like
With Antonio outside.
with Antonio, they're unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, and 6'7" Jesse James running through the middle of the
Shooting people to
Shooting
this
guns. Wow West.
Congratulations. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait.
I can't wait. All right. Next game, we have the Colts at the Jaguars, and the Colts are favored in this one by 2.5 points. The over-under is 49.5. The Colts are projected to score 26.5 points. Who do you like in this game, Dr. Bench?
Okay, we got the Colts, 26.5 points. Playing against the Jaguars defense, actually surprisingly versus the past 7th overall in the entire league in pass. Now they're 20th versus the run. Now they run a scheme called Leo scheme. It's a one high safety majority of the time. Cover 3, you're going to have a lot of man coverage on the outsides. Now surprisingly, they're doing pretty well with that with 7th in the league versus the pass. And normally their defense is run stop first kind of defense. They haven't really been doing that very well. Personally, maybe you guys don't agree with me. I like that Frank Gore may have a pretty good game this week. Andrew Luck hasn't stepped up to the plate yet.
Spider 2Y banana.
There hasn't been any of those plays called. None of those bananas.
He had a really good week 1. He had a great week 1, but that was against
Moncrief's
Detroit.
gone. T.Y. Hilton is banged up. You got Philip Dorsett, which we are high on because there's no one else to throw the ball to.
Yeah,
but I really hoping that one of these picks, comes out for us this week.
Are we looking at this maybe as like an upset game? Like the Jaguars are taking this from the Luck?
They're 0-3. They need a win.
I could see this
They
being
need a win.
I could see this being a lower scoring game than you think.
Lower than 49.5. They're like
because the
literally
Jags aren't putting up a lot of
game.
points. The Colts, if they can't perform versus a defense that's already stopping the pass, they're not really a run first offense when it comes to Andrew Luck. He's supposed to be our God sent child to bring us to the promised land. He's not really doing
Well,
that
he's
yet.
getting his tail kicked because their offensive line's not
Exactly.
very good.
Terrible.
So you have that, but a guy I got to mention, I mentioned this before, and he had his coming out party last week by scoring two TDs. Indianapolis, like you mentioned last week, 6 defensive backs are out again.
Yep.
You have Allen Robinson, a huge target. He got 2 touchdowns last week. I think he's up for a big game as well.
I think this is a really tough game to pick.
It is.
It's in London. So everybody, just so you know, 9:30 Eastern time a.m. That means when you're waking up after you've been out. Saturdays are for the boys.
For the boys. For the boys. I mean, who doesn't like Sunday morning football?
Soft mittens, top tittens for the boys.
Head's going to be hurting on Sunday morning.
So I mean, that early, you guys got to get your lineup set Saturday night. I mean, this is a tough game. I think there's actually going to be a lot of points scored in this game because the players like to perform in London, and they're encouraged to perform in London, right? They're trying to open up a new market over there. This is a big game for these guys. I kind of think Luck and Dorsett are going to hook up for at least one touchdown, but I really do think that you can use Robinson. I think you can use Thomas. I think you
Julius
can use
Thomas.
Even TJ Yeldon. I mean, their defense has been
play with
terrible.
Chris Ivory's been hurt.
These neutral site games are very tough to really see who's going to show up, who traveled well, who didn't.
We'll see who brings the tea. All right, let's see who takes
this
it
one's
home.
a tough
to bring
one
the
to
crumpets.
Yep.
Next one, the last one that we have for you today is the Dolphins against the Bengals. They're at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's favored by a touchdown. They're projected to score 25.75 points. Take it away.
Okay. Short week. It's Thursday night game. So Thursday night game. You're on a short week with both teams here. Bengals, they're playing against a defense in a 4-3 scheme. You got Ndamukong Suh, Spencer Ware, Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake. Good pass rush. This is going to make it difficult for Andy Dalton. Ndamukong Suh. This is going to make it very difficult for Andy Dalton to be effective in large 5-step dropbacks. I like both backs. I know you guys do too. And Giovanni Bernard, who is actually more expensive than Jeremy Hill.
In DraftKings. FanDuel, he's less.
FanDuel, there's flips.
And that's because of the half point to full point PPR.
Yep.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
Just wait till later.
So Giovanni Bernard, I know we like in DraftKings. He's going to get more receptions. Jeremy Hill, if he's more of their red zone back, if he gets a touchdown, he's definitely worth the purchase in your lineups. I like AJ Green. He's a great player, but I would probably gear more towards the backfield of Cincinnati this week, just because of the defensive rush from Miami this week. Okay, especially on a short week.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this game, Thursday night games are always hard to project. In the past, since the Thursday night game has been brought into the NFL, Thursday night games are generally lower scoring games, and the reason is they're hard to game plan, right? I mean, you got 3 days essentially to get your team ready, and one team is traveling within 3 days, maybe coming off of a road game. So it could be a pretty tough thing for. I mean, they get maybe 1 day of practice,
half as much to heal.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Half as much time to heal. So normally we don't pick from the Thursday night games, but this one with the Bengals being favored, and we had quite a few games this week that were lower scoring and right around that 25.5 mark, and it's tough to project when you got the games that are really close. I think another game that we had on the slate was the Cardinals and the Rams, and we just thought that the Bengals versus the Dolphins.
Always a close game.
Yeah.
Rams are very, very good against their divisional opponents.
Right.
They are.
Right.
Watch how they played Seattle. They took them. They won 9-6 or something like that.
It's always low scoring.
Yeah.
That division when they play each other is always low scoring. You think about Seattle, San Fran, Seattle Rams. I mean, those games are usually 9-13.
Which is ridiculous.
10-7.
Especially versus a high-power offense over the last 3 to 4 years with Arizona. They still get shut down versus their divisional opponents with all the weapons they do have. And you have Michael Floyd on concussion protocol.
He did get cleared. He got cleared today.
Takes one hit and you're right back in.
You're right.
So,
basically, what it comes down to for Arizona, especially after the debacle they threw down against the Bills last week, the only person I'm planning on starting is David Johnson.
Yeah. If we go to the Cardinals, I'm only taking David Johnson. Carson Palmer's got to come back and prove it to me.
Yep. True.
All right, let's bust up the assessment portion. Dr. Curry.
All right. So during the assessment portion, we're going to go through tournament and cash games that you should be picking in DraftKings and FanDuel. Tournament games. that we're playing this week as a team, as the Fantasy Sport Doctors. Hey-o! You got it. That's right. DraftKings, we're going with a $4 $350,000 kickoff special. That includes the Thursday night game. So, again, when we're talking Bengals Dolphins here, that is the Thursday night game. If you play the main or the standard one through DraftKings or FanDuel, that will not include Thursday night or Monday night. And I would highly suggest pulling at least one or two players from that Bengals-Dolphins game. I like the Bengals in that game. So we got a couple of hot takes on which players to pick from there. From FanDuel, we're playing a $2 $50,000 Monday through Thursday night game again, or a Thursday through Monday night game, excuse me. So moving on, we have our...
Fantasy Flatliner.
All right, we got our flatline. Remember, this is our bust of the week. So for my tournament game flatline, I am going with tight end for the Colts, Dwayne Allen. In FanDuel, he's going to cost you $5,900, and in DraftKings, he's going to cost you $3,800. Let me give you a couple stats between him and Jack Doyle. This is 2016 season stats. Jack Doyle has 13 receptions. Dwayne Allen has 9. Jack Doyle has 137 yards. Dwayne Allen has 113. And Jack Doyle also has 2 touchdowns to 1. But let me also tell you, Jacksonville's D, for the year, they've only given up a total of 11 receptions for 79 yards and a touchdown in 3 games to the tight ends. That's a combo of Green Bay's tight ends for 2 receptions for 22 yards. Then you have Antonio Gaines in week 2 for 3 receptions for 15 yards and a touchdown. And in week 3, Dennis Pitta, who had a killer game in week 2, 6 receptions for only 42 yards. Dwayne Allen is my flatline of the week.
Those are some pretty good tight ends that they actually shut down. It's very good.
Dwayne Allen's on the low side of the scale, but I mean, definitely when I'm looking at what we have to offer here, there's plenty of tight ends that I would rather pay up for instead of Dwayne Allen.
Or pay down. I'd rather have Jack Doyle if you're taking of the 2.
Yeah, or Hunter Henry. I mean,
we'll be talking about him in a little bit. I got some loving for him.
Okay, all right, sorry.
All right.
Swing. You're jumping on my Kool-Aid, boy.
All right, so my tournament flatliner of the week here is Le'Veon Bell. In FanDuel, he's 8,300. DraftKings, he's 7,500. So Le'Veon Bell's coming back from a suspension. He hasn't been injured, but he is going to probably be on a little bit of a snap count, like I said before. They're not going to rush him right into it. He's got to get his game speed back, and they're going to be sharing some stats with D'Angelo, who's been killing it for him. They're not just going to put D'Angelo straight to the bench just because he's been playing amazing. That's just not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think this week Le'Veon is a prove-it player. Right.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He'll probably. I wouldn't doubt that he sees the end zone. But if you're paying $7,500 for the first game back after a 3-game suspension, you better be giving me
2 touchdowns, 100 yards.
I want 20 points.
I want 20 points.
For sure.
Yeah, which is like 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
It's too risky of a pick right now for where he's at for me. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be in my lineups as the season goes on. It's just too much right now, too risky. I don't know what to expect first game back. So I'm staying away from Le'Veon Bell this week.
Yep. Yeah, wait on Le'Veon. I think there's other running backs. We will name one of them with better matchups and cost over $1,000 less, and they are already proven. They're not playing their first game. So I agree. My flatliner for tournaments, I'm getting away from the top 6 teams that we projected. I'm going any Giants player. All right. So if you're playing a tournament, do not pick the Giants. Right. That's Odell Beckham.
Tell me why.
That's Sterling Shepard. That's Victor Cruz, and that's any of their.
That's a Down syndrome boy, Eli Manning.
Whoever the running back is.
Yeah, we don't even know who their running back's going to be. Orleans Darkwa.
Could be Paul Pierce.
Darkwa. Something like that. Yeah. Anyways,
that's French.
They're playing the Vikings. I believe they're playing the Vikings at home. Right. Vikings are at home.
They're at home on Monday night. On Monday night.
You're going to be doing that Viking skull chant. The ho.
Okay.
Ho. That's pretty cool.
So this is going to sound like a homer thing here because I'm a Packer fan.
God, I hate you.
But I could see the Vikings losing this game. just because they're 3-0.
Child, please.
All right, you want me to give myself a child, please? Here.
Child, please.
Yeah.
You think you can stop me, period? You can kiss the baby.
I mean, here's the deal. So Vikings have been looking good, all right?
Defense is
Everybody, they're just skyrocketing. Everybody's like, oh, this defense is great. They are playing one of the most high-powered wide receiving crews in the league. I still don't think.
What do you think about the Packers receiving crew? They shut down.
I actually don't think they're as good as the Giants.
How
I
about,
mean, if you put Aaron Rodgers in place of Eli Manning, I think the Giants would be Super Bowl winners.
You do.
100%.
Actually, the Giants' defense is pretty good. Actually,
yeah,
too.
and
they really are.
Eli Apple.
Yeah,
I mean, they got a good corner.
Actually, both their corners went out last week. Eli Apple and Cromartie. They're both questionable for this week. So check that out.
All right, that's good to know.
I mean, Trey Waynes likes to catch one interception a game, but then he likes to hold people the rest. So
he did better last week.
It's like.
All right,
okay.
Let's move on.
Anyways, what I'm saying is that the
don't
Giants
touch the G-men
are risky plays in tournaments. They are not guaranteed any points, and more than likely they will be shut down. Again, there's the opportunity for them to score some points, but I think that is going to be a lower scoring game of the week. So,
good take.
Moving on, we got our. Flight.
All right, we got our fight or flight players. These are our boom or bust players. We already just spoke about him. He's Dr. Mitch's Flatliner of the week. And my fight or flight, and he said it basically every reason why. You don't know if you can trust him or not. He might go off, he might not. I don't really know. Is Le'Veon Bell. He's going to cost you, like we said, $8,300 in FanDuel and $7,500. The thing is, Kansas City's defense against the run is 24th ranked. They're giving up 123 yards per game. And we don't know if that's going to be going to Bell or if that's going to be going to a boy, D'Angelo Williams. The only evidence I could find about how he does against Kansas City was last year. He went for 17 attempts for 120 yards, and he also had 4 receptions for 16 yards. So he's running. When he runs against that D, and their defense was a lot better last year, he ran for over 7 yards a carry. So if he gets the opportunity, he's a guy that can really go off. But if he doesn't, and it's shared with D'Angelo Williams, then he's going to be my bust. So fight or flight.
You got it. Boom or bust. That's what Le'Veon is this week. And there are going to be plenty of people who jump on that train, and they're going to look like geniuses if he goes off, but they're going to look like idiots if he doesn't. So
he may just need to hit a bong before the game. Yeah, I think maybe that'll get him going.
Well, that might get him back on that list again. Might get him another suspension. So
good. They don't know who to start.
He just didn't show up for the test. He didn't test.
Oh yeah, that's right. Technically, he's
like, you want to do that? That doesn't seem like the thing I want to do.
Mitch, who you got for your fight or flight?
Okay, my fight or flight is going to be Tyler Boyd.
I love it. Been high on this guy.
Okay, so thank you. Younger receiver out of Pitt. He's had 11 receptions, 120 yards, no touchdowns yet, but he's been fed the ball to the slot quite a bit. AJ Green's going to be a emphasis of defense for the Dolphins. Like I said, the Dolphins have a very good pass rush, and I was down on that passing game, but quick dink and dunk, inside slot receiver, where Boyd plays, or Ken plays, 6'2", 197. He's not a small guy.
And he catches the ball. He's got
been
good
catching
hands.
up the seam a bunch. I could see him getting in the end zone this week. I like Tyler Boyd. He's a fight or flight. He's coming in DraftKings
cheap
as $3,400, and then FanDuel $5,400. So you can really use a lot of that extra money around your rest of your lineup, and I think he's a really good player for you this week.
I love it.
Sure, $3,400. That's a great value there. My fight or flight response player in tournament games is going to be Travis Benjamin. And the reason why I say that, again, going back to the San Diego Chargers and projecting them as the highest scoring team of the weekend, Phillip Rivers is going to have to throw the ball around, and he's going to throw it to either Travis Benjamin or Tyrell Williams. So you take your pick there. I think Benjamin's the guy who is either going to catch 3 or 4 passes for 50 yards or 2 touchdowns and 120 yards on 8 targets. So, Travis Benjamin is going to be your fight or flight guy, and for $5,900, he's middle of the pack. I think he has the ability to be a top flight wide receiver for this week. So
I like that.
Moving on to our essentials, Dr. Healy, what do you got for your essential play of the week for the tournament games?
I love this tight end. It was already mentioned earlier. Is Hunter Henry, the double H boy? He's going. Yeah, no, but he's only got 2 H's. I don't know what his middle name is. So he's going for $4,500 in FanDuel, and only $2,700 is going to cost you in DraftKings. The thing is, this guy is going to be a huge target for him. He's 6'5" and 250 pounds, so he's a big guy to take down. And his first real week of action, he had 5 receptions for 76 yards, and he's a guy that they're going to be looking in the red zone. And like we said, the game of the Chargers is going to be the number 1 highest scoring game of the week, and somebody's going to be scoring those touchdowns, and I think Hunter Henry is going to pull one out.
You think Hunter Henry is going to get one of them, huh?
I think he's going to be throwing 3, so 1 to him, 1 to Travis Benjamin, maybe 1 to Tyrell.
Hey, all right. Take them all.
All right.
Dr. Mitch, what do you got?
I'm going back to the Bengals again. I normally don't hop on the Thursday night games like this, but I just like the matchup with the defense for the Dolphins is piss poor. 31st rushing defense in the league, especially in DraftKings with the full point PPR. I like Gio Bernard. He's coming in at 4,700 in DraftKings, 5,500 on FanDuel. You're looking at, I think he's going to get a touchdown this week, catch a couple balls out of the backfield. He had one game with 100 yards receiving. No, it's a little bit of an anomaly, but I mean, even you catch five balls for 50 yards, you're looking at 10 points right there, just in that plus.
You know where I see Gio Bernard a lot? 3rd and long.
Oh, yeah.
3rd and long.
And then they cover deep, and he
do a little screen pass.
Drops the ball off.
He makes a shake and bake, baby.
Shake and bake.
15,
shake, a little shake.
And bake it.
And a little bake. And then what he does is he makes a first down, maybe even gets you 20 yards out of the deal, and that's 3 points in DraftKings.
Right there. That's easy. And he's only going for 4,700 in DraftKings.
Yep, I like Gio.
Steal.
I like Gio on that. So, what do you got for your pick, Dr. Healy?
Dr. Curry, actually.
Yeah, I jumped the gun.
Jeez.
Skip over you.
A lot of premature happening over here today.
Come on.
Chirp.
I'm going to crush you on here in front of everybody because I'm tired of hearing about it.
I'm tired of hearing about it.
Get these sound bites, jeez.
Online, YouTube. Essential tourney pick this week. Moving back to the tight end position, I'm going Greg Olsen. I think you pay up for Greg Olsen this week. He's the 2nd or 3rd highest tight end, and I think he's going to be worth it. The Falcons, I think, are going to have to clamp down on Benjamin. We've seen in the past 3 weeks what Benjamin can do, and they are a little bit lower maybe on the tight end position. Greg Olsen's coming through the slot. He generally get some yak, maybe a touchdown in there. I expect Cam to be looking his way as a safety blanket quite a bit, so I think you definitely throw Greg Olsen in there. He's going to get you your points.
I like it. Let's do that.
Moving on to the cash games this week. Again, stick with your double ups, triple ups, your top tens. Again, cash games are there as a supplement to win you money in case you lose in your tournaments. That's the reason why we play cash games, right, boys?
That's where you win the money to keep up the tournament games for the big win.
All right, moving on. Flight players.
All right, my fight or flight player is Deshaun Jackson for the Washington Redskins. He's going to cost you $6,900 in DraftKings and $6,900 in FanDuel and $6,200 in DraftKings. Deshaun Jackson is doing pretty well this year. He's averaging 16.51 yards per reception, and they're going up against a Cleveland defense that is 24th ranked in passing. They've given up 7 touchdowns already in 3 games. In week 1, they let Jordan Matthews score 1 touchdown, having 7 receptions for 114 yards. Week 2, they let Mike Wallace score 2 touchdowns on 41 yards, and also allowed Dennis Pitta to have 102 yards receiving. In week 3, they allowed Jarvis Landry 120 yards and a touchdown. This is their number 1. Deshaun Jackson, you can expect to go over 100 yards and at least 1 touchdown this game.
Good take. I like that.
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part.
Great call.
That was a great call.
There were a lot of stats thrown there.
Well, you might have to listen twice.
Flurry of goodness.
I'm not sure I kept up.
I kept up. It was good stuff, though. Okay, so my fight or flight for our cash game plays are going to go to the Steelers-Chiefs matchup here again. I'm going with Sammy Coates.
Oh, well, top of the morning to you.
Yes.
That'll wake you up.
Sammy Coates. Okay, so a couple takes with Sammy Coates here. He comes in FanDuel 5,400, DraftKings 4,400. Not that expensive. He's had 12 targets over 3 games. Not bad with 2 other receivers that were there, and then Antonio, who normally gets 10 plus a game. You have a Chiefs defense that came off of a ginormous week last week. So I think people are just going to be scared away from playing against the Chiefs D. So in a tournament or cash game tournament play, this is someone who could be very low owned and really put out some numbers for you. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet, and he's had opportunity.
Chiefs have one big cornerback, right?
Marcus Peters. He's a stud, second year.
And you know who he's going to be on? He's going to be on Antonio Brown.
Right.
Yeah.
And
then you have Barry in the secondary. They do have a good secondary, but I think that Sammy Coates, he's had targets. He just hasn't had the opportunity to get in the end zone. I think this could be a big week for him this week. He's got 200 yards receiving in 3 games as a third receiver.
Eli Rogers a little banged up, right?
He was in a boot.
Marcus Wheaton dropped 4 balls last week.
I like Sammy Coates.
Sammy Coates
I think he's going to have a huge week this week. I like my fight or flight and cash games is Sammy Coates. Pittsburgh Steelers.
I like it. I think for 4,400, he's going to score some points. He's going to outperform what he actually is for value there, and he has the ability to score some touchdowns. So
I like it.
He's got that long ball ability too. I mean, honestly, Sammy Coates is one of those guys that I think Big Ben just hucks it up and throws it to.
He does that with a lot of them. Just
hucks
her up.
Yeah, he likes that. My fight or flight response player for cash games is going to be Andrew Luck.
Fighter 2Y banana.
And the reason why I say that is because I think Andrew Luck is going to give you points, but you don't know if he's going to give you that medium, kind of middle of the pack points, or if he's just going to blow up and
win you the game.
Yeah, win you the game kind of points.
He's been him and his goat beard has been really sketchy this year.
He has been.
They
that offensive
goat beards
line
in London.
That offensive line.
They have some of the ugliest beards and teeth in London. But come on,
Luck is in
not
the
as
air.
nice as your two gentlemen.
Luck is in the air.
Luck of the Irish over there.
Luck of the Irish.
He's talking already.
I think Luck is going to throw a couple touchdowns this week. I think he's going to start getting his groove back. There's a reason why everybody calls him the next Peyton Manning, and he's going to have to start performing or he's going to get the boot. So, again, he's a fight or flight player. He's going to get you some points, but he might go off for those cash games. So that's what I'm picking. Moving on, we got our Fantasy Flatliner.
All right, my flatline of the week, aka our bust of the week, is Lamar Miller. People really were super high on this guy when he came in this year. He's going to Houston. He's going to get the most carries, and he's getting a lot of carries. But the thing is, his carries have decreased quite a bit. In week 1, his carries were 28, and then week 2, 25. In week 3, they went to 21. His yardage has also gone down. He went from 106 yards that game to last game he only had 80. And he's also going against an extremely good rushing defense, and that is the Tennessee Titans, who have only allowed 1 rushing touchdown this season. And they allowed the 8th least points at 19 points per game. So I don't think he's going to get the chance to, because they're going to have to be tossing the ball. Lamar Miller is my flatline of the week. Child, please. Did you see that stats I just rocked out?
I love it.
Boy. Your fact checker over here and call you Hillary over here.
Yeah, I'm giving him the toilet
Look
bowl
on my website.
He sucks. Yeah, don't
check
pick
the facts.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like that. That was good play.
Yeah, nice work.
My fantasy flatliner this week, I'm going back to the Colts. T.Y. Hilton. A couple reasons.
He had a big game. He had a huge game for us last week.
Huge game last week.
174 and a TD.
He did.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
This guy's serious.
Tell me why.
Okay, so he's going up against the Jags. Not impressive, you don't think? 7th best versus the pass this season, which no one would have expected. There are a lot of man-to-man. T.Y. Hilton's questionable with the knee. He's a little banged up. They're traveling to London. with an injury questionable, and I just don't see him stepping up this week versus this Jags. I think the Jags are going to show up this week. I think they're actually play very well.
If they don't, their coach might get fired.
That's the thing. And I like Gus Bradley. He actually recruited me when I was in high school.
Tell me about that,
Yeah,
Mitch.
what happened? Why aren't you with the Jags right now?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't with the Jags. He was with the Bison at NDSU.
Okay.
Yeah.
To all the non-believers. To all the non-believers.
I just call you Carson Wentz.
He's a very good coach. He's a tough position in Jacksonville. I mean, they
Spring break in the ghetto.
spring break in the ghetto.
Jacksonville, I tell you what.
Yeah. No, I like Gus Bradley. I like what he's trying to do down there to change the culture, but changing the culture in a program does not. It takes time. He's in year 3. This is where you really have to start showing results. If you don't, the owners aren't patient. So I really hope they pull this out, but I just don't see T.Y. showing up this week.
Flatliner for me for cash games this week. I'm going with a guy who's not on our list of players.
You can't do that. I'm just kidding.
I just did it.
I feel like
The guy is drunk.
so. I'm going with Rob Gronkowski. The reason why I'm going with Gronk is I'm not going to trust that guy until they have a quarterback that's stable.
There's going to be no power spiking until Brady gets back.
I mean, once they get Brady back, then I'm in on Gronk. He was hurt last week. I think he only played 30% of the plays. They threw a ball in the red zone to him, but he didn't even try to catch it. He just ran out there and said, "Screw this, I'm not catching
Tom
this."
Brady is not thinking about football. I saw some little bit on TV. He's like laying on some boat with Giselle in a thong with his hand on her butt. Like,
Can you blame
I
him?
tell you what, that was a great call on your part. That was a great call.
He is thinking the furthest thing from football. Oh, shoot. 4-game suspension. I'll just go sit on my yacht and with my supermodel wife.
Oh, worst life
applaud
ever.
you, Tom
I
Brady.
hate that. That
I
would
applaud
suck.
Tom Brady.
Oh.
He's going to come back and watch you win a Super Bowl.
Swing.
All right. What do we got for our picks this week in cash games?
Essential. Dr.
right.
Healy, our essential picks for cash games.
My essential pick is A.J. Green. I like him a lot. I don't have as many facts as I do before, but he's going against a pretty horrible secondary again, Miami, who allowed Terrell Pryor to have 8 receptions for 144 yards. Who's better? A.J. Green or Terrell Pryor?
I don't know. Did you see the interview with Terrell Pryor afterwards? I mean, that guy
He's
put
passionate.
his heart and soul into that game. He's not in it for the money. He's in it for
To win.
playing
Just to
football
win.
and winning. Yeah, and
I like Terrell, but so is A.J. He's a big guy, big target. He's consistent, and Miami's defense is 20th ranked, giving up 284.7 yards a game.
I mean, AJ's definitely better.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
My cash game essential play for this week is Phillip Rivers. Like Dr. Curry had said before, top scoring game and projected to Vegas. Highest projected points for the team itself. I'm liking P. Rivers. He's like a 4th, 5th value when it comes to
He's low.
when it comes to how much you're paying out for him.
Cash, homie.
I think he's going to have a huge week this week. I like Phillip Rivers this week. Put him in 75% of your lineups. Honestly.
P. Riv is at $6,900 DraftKings. Just so you guys
FanDuel, he's at $8,500.
I mean, just for reference, we got Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger. All of those guys are higher salaries than Phillip Rivers. And remember, Matty Ice, who none of us really like.
He was my essential last week.
Well, I mean, okay, for 1 week, maybe we like him. But do you like Matty Ice on the whole season?
Not in the whole season, but for the first, he's got the most
versus the
passing
Saints D, I like
Dr.
any
Nick,
quarterback.
do you like Natty Ice on the whole?
Nobody likes Natty Ice.
That's a good one.
In any hole.
That's a hot take right there.
So none of us really
I
like
think I
Natty
have a new
Ice on the
bet.
whole. But definitely this week we're going P. Riv against the Saints. So
P. Rivers.
Instead of you owing me a beer for our bets last week, I think you need a shotgun to Natty Ice. I feel like that just seems.
I'll do a shotgun.
That seems
We'll put it
so
up
much,
on
so much more
Periscope. You ready
entertaining.
to see Dr. Nick do a shotgun?
That
You give me a
seems
Natty
so much
Ice,
more
I'll do
entertaining than
a
just-
shotgun.
I feel like a beer
Ain't
is
no
just
Natty
it's
Ices
just
in the
boring.
house.
Yeah, we don't buy that shit.
Oh heck no! This will have to be purchased for $4.95 for a case,
Yeah.
probably. So that is our new bets. Instead of just doing simple beers, the loser that next week, need to shotgun it on air.
Okay,
All right.
I'm down
I
with that.
like that.
Or do like a
Game
shirt
on.
off ice, get iced on air.
Nobody
screw
wants
that.
to see
I
you
malt
with a shirt
liquor.
off.
No, I'll do an ice.
I'll give you a malt liquor. Next bet is going malt liquor your way.
This is going places I don't want it to go. So let's move on. All right.
I got a cash game, guys. I got a player who's my essential pick.
Oh, we should probably listen to his.
I guess
We
you
should
need to
probably
listen to
his.
guys. Yeah.
In my 24 years of
Don't
life,
even.
Try
Take
please.
these sound bites away from this
I'm
kid.
better at life than both of you.
No.
Highly doubtful.
My cash game essential pick, and I think both of you are going to applaud this after I say this. My cash game essential, and it better be in every single one of your guys' lineups out there. Melvin Gordon,
Love him.
at $6,300. Workhorse back. He's got no one else behind him.
And with Danny Woodhead gone, he's catching the ball too.
Right. He's got no one else behind him. Who did they just sign? Dexter McCluster?
Yeah.
I mean, and he doesn't even know the playbook yet. So we're going Melvin Gordon to get in the end zone at least once against that porous Saints defense.
Extremely consistent this year. Extremely.
Seriously, yeah. Melvin Gordon's going to get a ton of opportunities. He's going to score for a cash game, 6,300. He's middle of the pack. He's going to put up points. I look for him to highly outweigh his potential and definitely have Melvin Gordon in all of your lineups.
Just look what the Atlanta's running backs combined did. They scored 4 touchdowns combined.
Yeah.
And had, I think, close to 100 yards receiving and rushing.
Yeah, I mean, that was another pick. We were all over Tevin Coleman last week. I didn't see Devontae Freeman having that big of a game, but
He crushed
Pretty
it.
sure he made some of my lineups 3 touchdowns.
for sure.
Oh, yeah,
He killed
did.
it.
Devontae Freeman killed it too. He had 14 carries, 152 yards,
did.
and 5 receptions for 55 yards and a touchdown.
So that running game against the Saints was what you're saying is my...
is now Melvin Gordon.
You're saying my cash game pick was...
straight cash, homie.
Yep, it's pretty cash.
But yeah, you finally had a good take. Good for you.
Oh, every day. All day, every
Don't forget
day,
about
baby.
Cole Beasley.
Moving on. We're moving on to the last part of the show, which is our plan. During the plan portion, we are actually going to break down and give you guys a prescription to win money. Who knows? Maybe you guys walk away on a $3 bet with $90 like Dr. Healy did.
You're welcome.
Maybe you're winning consistently like Dr. Mitch and I, and we're winning $25 a week, something like that. So, after 10 weeks, $25 turns into $250. How many people out there are playing, season-long fantasy leagues where they're dropping $50, just to get in the league, and they don't even win anything.
And if they're losers, sometimes they have to buy a keg. I know one of my buddies he lost the entire league and had to take
prop
the
bets,
ACTs.
they got prop bets in there. That's terrible.
Maybe a tattoo on your butt or something
Right,
like that.
yeah.
If you're
who
lucky.
knows?
Get on
knows?
daily fantasy sports, because you get to set the amount of money that you're putting in, and if you listen to us, you're going to win some money. That's
Exactly.
The statistics are there. Probably we're using this formula for a reason, and
And it's proven to work for 3 weeks.
we're getting winners.
At least
and
3.
it only takes time before you pop a big one here and there. I'm really excited. I already know what's going to happen. Wait till we
All the non-believers.
Yep.
How did that? All the non-believers.
We're going to be popping a couple hundreds here and there before you know it, and I'm excited for the first $1,000 winner.
All right, so we're going to do one DraftKings and
Can't wait.
one FanDuel lineup. I'll start off there with the
Easy over
DraftKings. The quarterback we have over here is going to be Phillip Rivers, and we're going to pair him up with Dr. Curry's essential play of Melvin Gordon, and then also Dr. Brecky's essential play in tournament games with Gio Bernard.
All good picks here. Okay, now we're going to the wideouts for our DraftKings lineup. The 3 wideouts we have, we're going a little heavy with the San Diego Chargers in this lineup, but I think I like it. We're going with Tyrell Williams. I think he's going to catch a touchdown this week at $4,400. For his cost, we're going Crowder from the Redskins, and then we're going for a heavy favorite, obviously most people, in Antonio Brown. Tough Chiefs defense. Antonio's still going to get targets, still going to get you the money. Okay. Once you take away with our tight end and flex and defense here.
Looks like tight end, we got Greg Olsen, which again, I talked about him earlier. I think he's got the positive side in that Carolina offense to score a ton of points against Atlanta. We're going to follow it up in our flex with with Matt Jones, which is interesting because normally we wouldn't go with 3 running backs in DraftKings. Normally we like to put a wide receiver there with a full point PPR. We just think that Gio Bernard and Matt Jones coming out of the backfield catch the balls, and you have to have Melvin Gordon in your lineups. We're following it up with the Bengals defense playing Miami on Thursday night. You saw the shutout basically a shutout last week. Yep. The Bengals could easily put up a lot of points against Miami and shut them down. So we're going with the Bengals.
All right, so now we're on to our FanDuel lineup. I'm going to rock the quarterback and a couple running backs for you again. We got Cam Newton taking home right off the back for a quarterback, and then again we do Melvin Gordon, and then we're going to do Matt Jones as our running back for FanDuel.
And 3 wideouts for our FanDuel lineup. With T.Y. Hilton kind of being a flatliner, I think, this week with questionable knee injury, we're going to go with Philip Dorsett again this week. There's got to be balls thrown again this week in that game. We think they're all going to Philip Dorsett at 6,400.
A lot of balls be flying his way.
Yes, they will. A.J. Green is our second wideout, and Calvin Benjamin. 7,700 with Carolina. Remember, with that FanDuel, you got a lot more money to work with. That's why we were able to pair A.J. Green and Calvin Benjamin together. Philip Dorsett, again, we talked about him earlier. I think he's got a huge potential to catch a lot of balls coming from Andrew Luck this week.
If he screws us this week again,
he's never going back.
He's never going back in the lineup.
I'm throwing him in the garbage disposal.
Yep. Coming in at tight end, we're going Hunter Henry.
Love it.
Healy's essential play there.
Yeah, we're going Hunter Henry because
$4,500.
Fail me
or
now.
27.
P-Riv has always gone to his tight end. It's a security blanket for him. He doesn't have Danny Woodhead coming out of the backfield. Hunter Henry is going to catch some balls. He has a great opportunity to get in the end zone. Remember, in FanDuel, you got to pick a kicker. And from our lineups, we're going Graham Gano.
Indoors at Atlanta. Lots of points being scored. I like Gano on my team.
Me too.
Gano.
Wouldn't you know Gano?
And the defense, we talked about it a little bit earlier. This could be more of a risky play on our part just because they're playing a hot wide receiver core. And we're straying away from our top 6 teams. We're going Vikings defense at home, in the bank.
Monday night, prime time.
They've been special teams, gets points for defense. We had a return kick last week. They're always getting takeaways.
8 sacks last week.
Yeah, who knows? Cam? Everybody knows Eli.
We know Eli ain't moving like Cam.
Or like Aaron Rodgers.
Come on. Well, you can't compare Eli and Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. That's why the Vikings are going to kill it.
Don't get him started.
Stop.
It's disgusting.
Stop, Dr. Healy. Stop it. Do you guys think you're good because you're on top? But yeah, it won't.
I prefer
last.
on top. You have more control.
Last time the Vikings started 3-0, they didn't make the Super Bowl. So that's
last time
you got that going
Broncos
for you.
Broncos started 3-0, they won the Super Bowl.
Right, and Packers last time they started 3-0.
I'm fine with the Broncos winning. As long as this bastard doesn't win, I'm okay.
All right, how about that? There you go.
All right. Anyways, so those are our prescriptions to win this week. Just so you guys know, we are on iTunes. We are on Stitcher. Make sure you follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on Stitcher, subscribe on iTunes. We would love some likes on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Don't forget about our contest.
We got a contest that's still going. Once we hit 1,000 likes on Facebook, we're going to give away a jersey.
Of your choice. Yeah. Whatever you choose, player, team, whatever you like.
I mean, if you want Johnny Manziel, we're going to put Johnny Manziel out there for you.
Nobody, unless Johnny won it.
I want a number 2 jersey.
Give you a Tebow for all I care. I don't care.
We'll buy for you.
I'm pretty sure he hit a home run his first at bat on the Mets.
Opposite field.
Did you guys see that?
He did.
Yeah,
hit a home run.
And then he T-bowed when he got back home.
He didn't.
No, he didn't.
Come on.
It's Tebow time, people. All right, he's back in the news.
So again, we are at www.fantasysportsdrs.com. Like I said, like us, find us, love us. We love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Week 4.
We're out.